What is going on, hobby family? It is your boy K-Dub, and this is the second K-Dub's High Five, 5 rapid-fire questions for your favorite hobby faces. And today joining us, we have the man, the myth, the legend on Twitter, Ivan, but you probably know him as at WatchTheBreaks. Ivan, how are you doing today?
Kyle, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on. It's an honor to be 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 of your hobby high five.
Fantastic. Well, how this works is I got 5 questions. I'm just going to throw them at you one right after another. You can answer as long or as short as you see fit. Are you ready to rock?
I'm ready.
All right. First one here. Your Twitter handle is at Watch the Breaks. How'd you come up with it?
So not everybody that's newer on Twitter knows this. Uh, eight, 9 years ago, I did a YouTube comedy series about collecting based on all of my silly failures as a collector, which you still see happen to this day. And this was back, I mean, there was big breakers, and it was a little widespread for the time, but it wasn't what it is today when it comes to breaking. So the joke was, because every episode was about a failure or not catching a break, it was The Breaks was the name of the series.
Oh,
However, even 8 years ago on Twitter, that name was taken 17 times over. So it was Watch the Breaks, watch the show. So it was my hobby Twitter. And then it developed from there. But now people know me by it. So I can't just change it back to like Ivan Lovegren or that guy, you know, the Scotch tape complainer of the last 8 years. So what am I gonna do?
you build the brand, and then all of a sudden the brand gets ahead of you, and now you're stuck with Watch the Breaks. But I think it works, man. I think it still works.
Awesome. Thank you, K Dub.
All right, second one here. In your hobby journey from when you were young to now, who would you say is your biggest influence?
It's tough because, of course, my father got me into the hobby. Still collects to this day and still prods me on. But I know that that's like 98% of us. Like that's our default. So if I'm going outside of like the family, it has to be Eric at those back pages on Twitter, has a YouTube channel, those back pages. One of the most dedicated lovers of collecting, non-judgmental, able to have a great conversation, willing to help anybody out, and going all the way back to 2015 when I went to my first national. Like, didn't know me from Adam outside of Twitter, and showed up with 4 very special PC cards to say like, hey, I know you don't collect as much vintage. I think these might have meaning to you. And they
Yeah.
did, and they're incredible. So he's been there every step of the way, and I love him to this day. And I also know that I can say that, and other people will follow him and get the same joy and help. Like that's the really cool thing, is he's so unselfish. So those back pages would be my biggest hobby influence to this day.
Nice. That's awesome. And it's at those pages,
Those back
at
pages
those back pages. All right, right on. I'll
comes from
drop
his.
that
He's
in. I'll
also a
drop
big
that
comic,
in. Okay,
Walking Dead fan. So
nice. All right, question number 3. Thinking of your PC, what would be your dream or favorite PC card?
I already got the card.
Okay.
Chris Bryant is my absolute favorite baseball player of all time, and this was a gift from a collecting friend, Mike in Vegas. Um, Chris Bryant sent him a game used bat based on a tweet back when he was in minor leagues. And he was trying to pay it forward. And he said, okay, well, I'm sending Ivan that card he's been chasing and not hitting. So he literally sent me one of these at the height of their popularity,
Wow.
out of the goodness of his heart. So that's crossed off the list, which means now I can go back in time and make it an Ernie Banks autographed rookie card.
Okay.
Um, I like the fact that like vintage autographed rookie cards are a bit rarer in this
Yeah.
age of everybody's got autographed rookie cards.
Yeah.
So I'd sacrifice a little eye appeal for an autograph.
Love it. That's awesome.
What about you?
Dream PC card? Uh, Man, I don't even know. There's a Adrian Peterson, Randy Moss dual autograph I saw at one point, and I'm like, that would be Bam Bam Cam and mine both together in one. But much like you just shared, I'm very lucky that my favorite cards in my collection are from amazing people, and
Mhm.
so they not only are the cards that I want, but they remind me of the goodness of people's hearts. So I think it's really cool that that dude sent you that amazing gift.
Yeah. So
All right, question number 4. money not an option. You got every hobby product ever created in front of you. What box are you grabbing to rip and why?
It's got to be 1986 Fleer in that scenario because
Yes.
there's so many iconic cards in there aside from just the Jordan,
Mm-hmm.
and to rip it like 52 tops, I would understand like 4 of the guy's significance.
Yeah.
Whereas
Yeah.
one, the odds are pretty good you'll get an entire set from a 86 box.
Mm-hmm.
Smaller checklist, more packs, and a Charles Barkley from that would be awesome, and Hakeem Olajuwon from
Yeah.
that would be awesome, and Isaiah Thomas would be awesome, to hold. Even though, of course, as a Jordan fan, I'm not an Isaiah fan, so I'd have to go with that one for being able to run through the entire set, enjoy the entire rip, as well as, of course, the scarcity and impossibility of me ever getting to do that.
I mean, the table is open. I mean, it was anything you can rip. So I love it. All right, last one here. Obviously, your presence on the hobby Twitter is pretty big. Someone new getting into the hobby or the hobby community on Twitter, what advice would you give to them if they were to ask you for any advice?
You got to start with your joy. You got to enjoy and start with your joy. So people are always like, which product should I buy? If you're just in it for money, you're not going to be happy and you're going to burn out. You're going to burn out when the market turns down 40% in 6 weeks. Whereas if you're in it for I'm not saying not the money, but if you also find joy in it,
Yeah.
then you're going to stick around. Then you're not going to be upset at yourself and think you overextended. Then if something goes wrong and you look around at your stuff and you have to sell everything, maybe you still got that Randy Moss, Adrian Peterson auto you can afford to hold on to though,
Yeah.
and keep it for yourself and still be in the community, still be in the hobby. Because I think that's why these assets are so popular, as assets, and why people want to invest in trading cards is because it's fun. It's a community. We have friends. We have people like you, people like Eric, all these influences around us that we bond with. And so if you're just looking for the best bang for your buck, money, 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 I really encourage you to just pause for a minute and say, oh, and I also like this team.
Yeah.
It'll help you do better at that other part you're talking about. You'll have better legs, longer legs. You'll be able to stay in it longer and enjoy it longer if you at least have something in your heart that you collect as well.
I love it, man. I might drop that right there. That was beautiful, man. All right. Hey, as fitting, we got a high five at the end of K-Dub's high five. So throw up a high five there. Make sure you follow Ivan at WatchTheBreaks on Twitter. You could also follow me if you choose to at Mr. K-Dub. Reminder to everyone, be the good to the world, be the good to yourself, to others. And appreciate you joining me. And y'all take care.
This is a demo sound of freeintromusic.com.